This is Premium Times Half Hour every Thursday at 11 a.m.
Today, we'll be spotlighting the presidential seat. The emergence of Bola Tinubu as Nigeria's president was protested by many, particularly the two leading opposition candidates, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party's Peter Obi. They claimed that the election was marred by widespread malpractices and non-compliance with statutory provisions levied against the Electoral Commission, among other issues. As a result, the duo approached the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja to file complaints challenging Tinubu's victory. Some of the issues raised were false academic records, dual citizenship, drug trafficking in the US, and not getting 25% of votes from the Federal Capital Territory. And with Premium Times' Judiciary correspondent, Ameh Ejekwonyilo, who has covered these court sittings and will be throwing more light into these issues. I'm Titilope Fadare, and welcome to Premium Times Half Hour.
This is Premium Times Half Hour every Thursday at 11 a.m.
On this podcast show, we discuss important issues and matters of national importance. Premium Times is Nigeria's leading investigative and accountability platform, and we bring this show to you weekly as part of our mandate of providing the information you need to make informed decisions. This show spotlights exclusive reports produced by Premium Times reporters, from in-depth investigations and unique analysis to human angle stories. But before we delve into today's discussion on the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja, let me share some important stories Premium Times published and some updates we had during the week. We published an editorial titled "Nigerian Economy: The Pains and Gains of Reform." The article notes the current administration's efforts to revamp the country's failing economic sector and urged the administration to implement a biometric and demographic data required to drive targeted pro-poor programs, which should be mostly channeled to better schooling and healthcare outcomes. During the week, Premium Times reporter Titilope Fadare emerged as Nigeria's best women reporter, where she beat 4 other nominees in the journalist category and received a tablet, award plaque, and a scholarship training at the British Broadcasting Corporation office in the United Kingdom, funded by Nigeria's Office of UN Women of the United Nations Women, an organ of the United Nations. Get more of this information on our website, www.premiumtimesng.com. I'll go on a short break, and when I return, we'll begin conversations on the highlights of the Presidential Tribunal sittings. Stay tuned.
This is Premium Times Half Hour every Thursday at 11 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Premium Times Half Hour, a podcast show that spotlights special reports produced by Premium Times reporters. I'm Titilope Fadare, and with Ameh Ejekwonyilo, Premium Times Judiciary correspondent, who will be shedding more light into the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja that started on May 8th and will be ending in a few days' time. I'll be taking this issue bit by bit based on the allegations raised by Atiku and Obi, and this will serve as an update for those who did not follow the court sittings. So it was alleged that the election was marred by widespread malpractices and non-compliance to statutory provisions. They were levied against the Independent National Electoral Commission. And in trying to back up this claim, the European Union's report was brought forth, and they said in the report, it was stated that only 31% of the presidential election results were uploaded on the IREV portal, and not all of the results of the presidential polls were also uploaded on the IREV portal. So when these issues came up during the sittings, how did it play out?
The report of the European Union Observer Mission was tendered by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, And one of the key findings was that the presidential election results were not properly uploaded on the INEC result viewing portal, particularly only 31% of the entire results were on the portal and accurately. Correct. So the issue came up, and the court admitted the document in evidence against INEC and President Tinubu, and that was it for the documents that was tendered. And then for the witness to respond to, the witness, the document was tendered and admitted in evidence. So it is for the court to examine it and arrive at a conclusion as to establish whether the elections, the presidential election complied with statutory provisions of the Nigerian Constitution and the Electoral Act or not. So that is for the court to determine.
Okay, so another issue that President Tinubu faced is the fact that it was alleged that he falsified his academic results. How did the arguments play out?
Okay, well, the petitioners, particularly the PDP and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, as well as the Labour Party and its flag bearer, Mr. Peter Obi, called witnesses and presented documents that were obtained from the Chicago State University, where Mr. Tinubu allegedly graduated from. And the issues they raised were that there were discrepancies in the names and the sex of the gender of the owner of the certificate, the records, the academic records, whether it's a female or a male.
Okay.
Those were the issues that were raised, and the documents were admitted in evidence despite objections from Mr. Tinubu and INEC, as well as the All Progressives Congress.
Okay.
But getting to the defense side of the suit, where President Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress, as well as the electoral umpire, were to open their defense, the president did tender records. He did tender his academic records from the Chicago State University, comprising his degree certificate and the transcripts from the university, stating that he indeed graduated from the university, and he is an alumnus of the university. So that was how they defended that particular
situation.
Allegation. So it is also left for the court, the five-member panel of justices, to determine the veracity or otherwise of that.
All right. So now let's move to the issue of his dual citizenship, where in the case that he said that aside from the Nigerian citizenship he has that of the Republic of Guinea. And we also learned that he is a very close friend to the president of the Republic of Guinea. And I also understand that the president of Guinea spoke on this issue. So how was the outcome?
Okay, well, the petitioners presented the data page of alleged international passport of Mr. Tinubu bearing the Ghanaian origin, and it was contested as to the source of the passport, and the PDP witness did say it was obtained from the internet. but the document was tendered in evidence as to if indeed he holds the dual citizenship of Nigeria and the Republic of Guinea. That was the position of the petitioners, talking about Atiku and Mr. Obi. But at the defense stage, where Mr. Tinubu was where he led evidence in his own case, documentary evidence largely, what was said was that the purported passport that he had from the Guinean government had even expired, and it was not a question of him holding a dual citizenship of Guinea, and it was just a gesture by the then president owing to his contribution to the advancement of democracy and human rights in their own country, in Guinea, and it was just like an honor conferred on him. So it does not really amount to an issue of dual citizenship, or so to speak, but again, that's for the court to also determine.
All right, so there's another major contentious issue against the president, which is the issue of drug trafficking in the U.S. and an alleged criminal conviction or arrest. I'm sure that came up also in court. How did it happen?
Well, that was one of the key grounds of the suits against the president, and there was a document that was tendered a judgment that was tendered by Atiku's lawyer, Atiku's legal team, through one of their witnesses, purporting to have been an indictment from one of the district courts in the U.S., where the president was allegedly ordered to forfeit the sum of $460,000 over indictment in drug trafficking. But the defense team, of course, of the president and the All Progressive Congress, did question the authenticity of the said judgment if it was duly certified, because there are criteria for certifying documents to be tendered before the court, and they called into question the genuineness of the said judgment that was obtained from the U.S. court and tendered at the Presidential Election Court as evidence. So that was the case of the petitioners. However, Mr. Tinubu, in the course of his defense, tendered a letter that was written by a U.S. attaché from the U.S. Consulate General in Lagos, where they were responding to a request by the police, by the Nigerian police force in 2003, whether Mr. Tinubu was convicted or arrested of any crime in the U.S. And the letter specifically stated that Mr. Tinubu had no criminal record in the U.S., be it arrest or conviction of any kind. And a check was done on Mr. Tinubu through the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and it was discovered that he was never convicted of any crime in the U.S. So that was also tendered, the letter was tendered before the court by Mr. Tinubu's lawyer, Wole Olanipeku, and the court admitted all of that in evidence.
Okay, on a final note, let's touch on the requirement of 25% votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory. I understand that to be declared winner, you need to have 25%, but the president only got 19.4%. But let's also understand that other candidates I mean, the first runner-up as well did not get the 25%.
Yeah.
How did the arguments play in court, and what do you see as the possible outcomes based on this particular issue?
Well, the issue of 25% votes in the FCT as required by our constitution, by the Nigerian constitution, came up at the court, and the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, did not garner up to 25% votes in the FCT. So the candidate of the Labour Party won overwhelmingly in the FCT, and he raised the issue that the court should nullify the election on the basis that the president did not pull up to the 25% as statutorily required. What happened was the witnesses who testified, one of the witnesses for Atiku Abubakar did acknowledge that their candidate did not secure the 25%, and on that basis the election should be nullified and a fresh poll ordered by the court. That was their argument. But for the Independent Electoral Commission, there was no clear defense in that regard as to why the president need not secure the 25% as required in law. So I believe that will be addressed at the closing arguments for all the parties.
Okay, now, so they said closing arguments. When are we having this? Yeah.
Well, from the date of the closure of all the suits, both the respondents and the defense have closed their suits. Now they were given, the respondents had 10 days to file their final written addresses in preparation for the closing arguments, and the petitioners had 7 days to respond to the issues that might be raised in the final written addresses. What the court said was that it would inform parties when the matter is slated for hearing again. So there was no specific date as to the hearing. Okay. So it's been adjourned indefinitely, pending when all the processes are in, and then they can send out hearing notices.
All right. Finally, based on all that has happened in court and being present at the sit-ins proceedings, would you say, are there sort of protests from either of the opponents, opposing parties, and any other reaction from the president's team?
Well, the suit so far has progressed without much rancor, outside the preliminary issues concerning inability of some petitioners to access documents from the National Electoral Commission, which they raised, and the court tried to wade in. So largely it's been the proceedings have been smooth. There hasn't been any serious issue as to protest from the various legal teams. And then outside of the courts, where party supporters converged at the earliest stage, demanding that justice be done be done by the courts in determining the suits. So largely it's been peaceful, and hopefully we would have all that even at the end of the proceedings when the suits are determined.
All right. Thank you so much for shedding more light into the many activities going on in the presidential election courts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ameh. And
Thanks
we
so
hope
much.
to have you again another time on this podcast show.
All right, thank you for having me.
This is where we wrap up today's episode. Make sure you keep it a date with us every Thursday. Remember, Premium Times is a leading multimedia news platform which serves you every minute stories that help you make informed decisions and hold public officials, individuals, and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. And for timely updates on politics, entertainment, sports, and business, visit our website www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. We'll be here again, same day, same time next week. I am Titi Lokwe Fadari. Have a great weekend.
News beyond the surface. Investigations that uncover deep secrets. Analysis with thought-provoking perspectives. Reports that focus on human interest. Premium Times, a leading digital news platform, brings you these and more every hour through videos, written and podcast reports. Visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all social media platforms for timely updates on politics, entertainment, sport and business. Don't miss out.